Honorary Freeman, distinguished guests, Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the Worshipful Mayor of Bournemouth?
Oh, it's changed. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mayor of Bournemouth Trustees Annual Mayor-making meeting. It's lovely to see you all. I hope you have a lovely day. It's been a pleasure being Mayor, so it's welcome to all of you, and I hope you enjoy the ceremony. It's not too long, so don't worry. You just sit there and enjoy, and I'll be the nervous one. Honorary Freeman, distinguished guests, Charter Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome everybody to this annual meeting and hope you enjoy the occasion. I would like to advise you that the meeting is being live streamed and welcome those viewers who are watching the meeting, so please be careful. I now ask the Honorary Clerk, please may we have apologies for absence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologies have been received from the following Charter Trustees: Councillors Andrews, O'Brien, Castle, Challoner, Chapman-Law, Dove, Edwards, Hannah, Herritt, Moriarty, Northover, Richardson, Rigby, Councillor J. Salmon and Councillor K. Salmon.
Thank you, Clerk. Can I now ask the Honorary Clerk, can you report any declarations of interest or of interest received?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None have been received.
Thank you. Charter Trustees. It seems only yesterday that I was installed in this chair as Mayor, and anybody who takes this chair and anybody who has been Mayor will say the same thing, how quickly the year flies by, and it has flown extremely quickly by. I'll give you a short and not too long flavour of some of the things I have done as Mayor this year. I've made strong representations and have been heavily involved with the Indian Cultural Association of Dorset. There's quite a large Indian community within the area, and they are mostly employed, appear to be mostly employed by JP Morgan or the Royal Bournemouth Hospital, but they make an amazing and very valued contribution to the area, and I think they're fantastic. Some of the more interesting ones which we've been to or had, we've had several visits by Scouts into the Mayor's parlour, and that's really interesting. They're delightful young boys and girls up to the age of 11, and they're excited to be in the parlour, they're excited to see the Mayor, and they're excited when you give them the history talk of the building itself. Some of you I know are new mayors, and you may, I'm sorry, I'm going to bore you. You may not be aware that this building was originally a hotel because of the stream which goes through the lower gardens was considered a spa stream. And that was in 1890. In 1914, it became a hospital for mainly Indian soldiers and Commonwealth soldiers. Obviously, in 1918, it reverted to a hotel. And in 1922-23, the old Bournemouth Council purchased it for the grand sum of £23,000. £23,000, you can't get a decent car for that these days. But you think of 23,000, that's quite a few million in those days. So that's interesting. As part of my mayoral duties, I was invited to visit Israel to meet the Mayor of Netanya. Bournemouth, the old Bournemouth Council is twinned with Netanya, which is on the northwest coast of Israel. It's a very similar town to Bournemouth. It has high cliffs, beaches, and lots of sunny weather as we're having today. and I was delighted that several councillors came with me to make that visit. I must hasten to add, it wasn't a freebie, I had to pay for it myself, but it was an enjoyable visit, and if you ever get the opportunity to go, I will highly recommend it to you. I've visited quite a few times the Bournemouth in Bloom, which is a really exciting one, where you see lots of flowers. I hate gardening, but I love flowers. And that's run well and does a lot of good stuff for Bournemouth in general. One of the most interesting ones I did, if you go to Hengstbury Head, if those are the councillors in Bournemouth, you go to Hengstbury Head, there's a memorial plinth there to Charles Rolls. In 1910, there was an air display at the old Hengstbury Head. There was no houses there then, and it was the fastest aeroplane, the slowest aeroplane, and the fastest was probably going about 60, maybe 100 miles an hour if you were lucky. But Charles Rolls, if you've ever done any flying, the night before he decided to adjust his ailerons. And then he took off, and he got to about 80 to 90 feet, and the ailerons went one way, and the plane went the other way, and he was killed. But fortunately for us, he had already made the association with Mr. Royce in a hotel in Manchester some years before, hence the Rolls-Royce company. But there is a plinth there commemorating his demise, if you like, or certainly his achievements. One of the other major ones, we had the World Salvation Army visit us here in the town hall. The man who's in charge of the Salvation Army is like the Pope of the Salvation Army. He was a Canadian. He came to visit us here, and that was really interesting and pleasant speaking to him. And of course, as I say, several scout visits. I don't want to bore you too much with my visits. Can I just, while I'm sat here, can I thank the mayoral team for helping me and the mayoress during the year. A special thanks to Gary, to Mike, and to Jeff, to Hazel. They've all been extremely helpful, and I'm thankful for their assistance and enable me to escape sometimes when it's been a bit overwhelming. So I sincerely wish them help, and I know they will help the future mayor. It's been an interesting year. It's gone quickly. It's the year in which we've had a jubilee, then the death of a monarch, then 3 prime ministers, and a coronation. So it's been an interesting 12 months for myself. I read the coronation, or the proclamation, on the steps of the old Bournemouth Town Hall, or now the Civic Centre. And that's quite interesting, reading that out, because it's a very Old English type declaration. And you have to read it out word for word. You can't alter it in any way whatsoever. So I've kept that in a little box at home where we put mementos of our year in office. It's been a privilege, a pleasure, and an honour to be Mayor of Bournemouth. And I've been delighted to serve the people of Bournemouth. I've been delighted to serve the councillors and serve this council. And I look forward to the future with great enthusiasm, and I'm sure the new mayor will be exactly the same. So thank you very much. Now we'll turn to item 4 on the agenda, the election of the new mayor. I now invite Councillor Lawrence Williams to propose Councillor Anne Filer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also thank you and the Mayoress for your service to the town. Councillor Anne Filer has always lived in Bournemouth and really loves our beautiful city by the sea. In 1999, anxious to play a part in shaping the future development of her hometown, Anne was elected as councillor for Eastcliff and Springbourne, and has always enjoyed serving the residents of the ward she represents and the town she lives in. Anne served as mayoress to her husband Michael when he was mayor of Bournemouth in 1984, and subsequently herself served as mayor in 2007-2008, making history by being the first couple in Bournemouth to each have served as mayor. Alderman Michael Filer will be a very experienced mayoress. A mother of 4 children and a grandmother to lots, Anne's always been highly active and has served on a variety of communal associations and charity committees. She's currently a member of the Executive Committee of Bournemouth's Twinning Association, as you've heard, organising official visits to Bournemouth's twin town of Netanya in Israel. And believe me, she really knows how to organise those trips. I've been on 3 of them, and I still found it a brilliant experience, thanks to Anne's hard work and bossing everybody every step of the way. She's an associate member of the Institute of Linguists, a Queen Quizzer, and a season ticket holder at AFC Bournemouth, and loves gardening. She won an award in the Bournemouth in Bloom competition. She and Michael are both competitive bridge players and love to travel, but her main love and passion is the town of Bournemouth, and in her opinion, the best and happiest place in the British Isles. Mr. Mayor, it gives me great pleasure in proposing Councillor Anne Filer to be the Mayor of Bournemouth for the municipal year 23-24. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. I now invite Councillor John Beasley to second the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as I start, could I echo the proposer's sentiments in thanking you and the Mayoress for your outstanding service to the Borough of Bournemouth over the past year. Thank you for all that you've both done. As is customary, the seconder is the person who speaks to the Mayoress or the consort of the Mayor-elect. And in doing so, I will say a few words, I think, about Alderman Michael Filer, and he will be acting as Mayor's consort for the coming year. Michael was born in Portsmouth and educated at Clifton College in Bristol, which by coincidence was also the alma mater of my late grandfather. After qualifying as an accountant, he was headhunted by Alfa Romeo GB Limited and became their chief accountant. Michael married Anne and settled in Bournemouth, where he practiced as a local accountant, mostly based in Christchurch, for 36 years before his retirement. Michael served as a Bournemouth councillor for a total of 34 years. He held office as Mayor of Bournemouth in 1984-85, which was the year that the Bournemouth International Centre was opened. In that year, it had been expected that the Queen might be asked to open the BIC, given that it was such a substantial building and investment for the town. But in the event, the then Chief Executive Keith Lomas, who perhaps 1 or 2 people in the chamber today will remember, served this town for many years, together with the then leader of the council, David Trenchard, decided that the opportunity should go to the then current mayor, Michael Filer. Inside the hall of the BIC, Mr. Mayor, is a plaque which commemorates this. And indeed, I believe, I'm told, that Michael's late father was very proud of the fact that Michael had opened the BIC and often took family and friends to visit the plaque rather than the building itself. So, in addition to his term as mayor of our town, Michael is a keen sportsman. He played cricket weekly for over 30 years, including playing at Lord's. He regularly plays tennis and table tennis and competitive bridge with Anne, and both are ranked as advanced masters with the English Bridge Union. Michael also supports the Hampshire County Cricket Club, and he and Anne, as we have heard, are season ticket holders of AFC Bournemouth Football Club. Michael was made an honorary Freeman of Bournemouth and an honorary alderman in 2019 in recognition of his 34 years of service to the town. And I think it is worth repeating what the proposer said just now. It is a unique experience that a husband and wife have both been mayors of Bournemouth, and it only emphasises that by the fact that the Mayor-elect Anne is here to serve a further term for the coming year. That's a remarkable achievement, and it's one of committed service over many, many years to our beautiful town. Mr. Mayor, I congratulate both of them and wish Anne and Michael a wonderful year as Bournemouth's first citizens. I so second.
Thank you, Councillor Beasley, and I endorse everything that yourself have said and Councillor Williams have said. Anne and Michael will make a super team for Bournemouth. I'll take item 5 now. I put the motion that Councillor Anne Fowler be elected Mayor of the Charter Trustees of Bournemouth for the ensuing municipal year. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you very much. I'll take that as unanimous. I declare the election of Anne Fowler as Mayor of the Charter Trustees for Bournemouth for the ensuing municipal year. The Civic Party will now depart for a few minutes to allow me to change coats with the new Mayor-elect. Thank you.
Please be upstanding whilst the Civic Party leaves the chamber. Thank you.
Where's my... Please be seated. So I'm now going to read the Declaration of Acceptance of Office. I, Anne Filer, having been elected to the office of Mayor of the Charter Trustees for Bournemouth, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. And I'm now going to sign it. I'm now official. I've been told by the Chief Executive. I'm going to appoint my husband, Alderman Michael Filer, as my consort for the coming municipal year. Item 7 on the agenda is my speech, which won't be very long. It won't be as in... Can everybody hear me? That's good. So, honorary freemen, distinguished guests, members of Parliament, Charter Trustees, past mayors, and I'm particularly glad to see so many past mayors here, all of whom I know, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited and deeply honoured to have been inaugurated as this year's Mayor of Bournemouth. A big thank you to Councillor Lawrence Williams, himself a former Mayor of Bournemouth, for proposing me and for his kind words. Lawrence, we are missing Elaine here today. She's recovering from hip surgery, and please send her our very best wishes for a speedy recovery. We look forward to seeing her bouncing around very soon. And another big thank you to Councillor John Beasley, who has been Michael and my colleague for over 20 years, for his words, his ongoing friendship, and his always very wise advice. Thank you very much, John. I also want to thank our outgoing Mayor, Bob Lawton, and his Mayoress June for their help and friendship to me, as well as an outstanding year of service. They've been enthusiastic and dignified and have carried out all their duties in an exemplary way. Everyone who's met them has found them to be so warm and so caring, they're going to be a very hard act to follow. I also want to talk just a bit about the outgoing Deputy Mayor, David Kelsey. David is the most inclusive, self-effacing, proudest, genuine person I know. He has quietly done a tremendous amount of good deeds for residents over this past years, and particularly these last 2 years, and I personally wish him all the very best for the future. So, exactly 3 weeks ago today, the day after the local elections, I had no idea that I would be here today as Mayor of Bournemouth. Unfortunately, there were a great many winners and losers in that election, and my good friend Roberto Rocca, who was the Mayor-elect, was one of the losers. I'd like to pay tribute to him and wish him too all the best. His loss was my gain. I'm so grateful too to Hazel, Caroline and all the mayoral team for managing this whirlwind of the last 10 days, for their advice and professionalism, their good humour, and I look forward very much to working with them over the coming year. My deepest thanks go to my wonderful husband Michael, who, at a time when he was looking forward to retirement, a time of sport, travel and leisure, has agreed to give up a year of his life to support me and be my mayor's consort. As you've heard, he has been himself a mayor of Bournemouth, but that was almost 40 years ago. And his wisdom and advice, though I don't always take it, is absolutely invaluable to me. I know that together we're going to enjoy all that this year brings. So it's 16 years since I last sat in this chair, and so much has changed since then in my life, in the life of the council and in the world. When the 3 councils merged 4 years ago, nobody could have foreseen the devastation that lay 6 months ahead when COVID struck. Every norm, every certainty, any semblance of everyday life was completely uprooted, and it's taken almost until now for it to get back to some degree of normality. But the legacy of that is that we haven't got back to anything like the lives, private or public, that we knew before, and we are all still slowly adjusting to the new normal. I love Bournemouth. I was born here, educated here, have raised my own lovely family here, and it's wonderful to see so many here today, and especially Jack and Ellie, and Albie and Rosie, who are my grandchildren. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else but Bournemouth. A lot of things have changed, as they always do, and other things have, unfortunately, been precipitated into a quicker rate of change. 2 years of online shopping and Amazon deliveries have really affected our shopping centres, and people's former enjoyment of spending a day browsing around the stores has disappeared along with the stores, and our town centre hasn't yet fully recovered. The era of gracious stores and helpful store assistance has passed, and some places are looking somewhat worse for wear. But things have always changed, and if they hadn't over the years, we would still have blacksmiths, gas lamps, ironmongers, and horse-drawn taxicabs. Going through change can be painful, but we need to embrace the new opportunities, new purposes, new adventures, and that's what I hope I can help to kickstart during this mayoral year to come. This town is still beautiful. Our beaches, our cliff tops, our open spaces are still as wonderful as they ever were. Our climate is benign, and our pace of life is very relaxing. We have excellent schools, a premiership football team, terrific, healthy leisure and cultural pursuits, 5 magnificent and well-used parks, and 3 great universities. We have a lot of top-class hotels, and our seaside gyms and water-based activities rival any of those in California. So many people from other places recognise all that we've got to offer and are investing in building hotels, homes, and leisure facilities. People from all over the world are choosing to come to live, study, and work here. They all see opportunities in our blessed town, and for us, a rosy future. I want us all, Charter Trustees of Bournemouth, to remember that, and don't listen to the usual media moaners and complainers. We are in a state of flux at this time, but I know that within a short time and working together, we will be up and running at full pace. Please join me in talking up Bournemouth, letting people know how lucky we all are to be part of such magnificent potential. During this year, I, together with my beloved husband and consort, will do everything we can to help communities, to promote cultural activities, to encourage new entrepreneurs, to visit every part of the town. Invite me to support your community or fundraising events, and I, or my deputy, Councillor George Farquhar, will definitely come. I want this mayoralty to be a recognised and relevant part of the life of Bournemouth, and for our young people to grow up with a sense of civic pride. Working together and in harmony, we can achieve great things. Let's do it together. Thank you. So now we take item 5 on the agenda, which is the election of Deputy Mayor. And I invite Councillor Richard Burton, who has a proposal.
Thank you. Can I be the first person to officially welcome you and congratulate you as Mayor of Bournemouth, and I'm sure you'll make a brilliant job of it.
Thank you, Richard.
And can I also thank our current Deputy Mayor, David Kelsey, for all the work he's done. Now, David, after his time as Mayor, he could well have stepped back and put his feet up, but he didn't. Instead, he continued to work tirelessly as a champion for Bournemouth Charter Trust, and so on behalf of all of us, thank you very much, David. So I'm delighted to propose George Farquhar as Deputy Mayor. I may say a few words in support of that. given the chance to speak, I would normally say quite a lot, but George did ask me to keep it short. And so, for those of you who spent time in this chamber with George, I do think he owes us a bit of time back, so I will keep it short. Well, we'll come to that slightly later. I've known George for a little over 4 years, I suppose, since we both got elected together. And I'd definitely say that with George, we will get a good value deputy mayor. We'll get a lot for our money, as it were. Not only will we get a deputy mayor, we'll also get a great storyteller, an emergency standing town crier if ever needed, someone that can hire out with a robe and hat if we ever need any extras in films, highwaymen or pirates. We could get a bit of extra money in like that. But most of all, we'll get a warm and genuine person who's got a great love of people, dogs and goats. He will make everyone feel welcome and special at whatever event he attends. I don't think the Deputy Mayor gets their own coat of arms, but if they do, I would just suggest taking the Bournemouth coat of arms and getting rid of the blue lions and flightless birds and replacing them with greyhounds rampant and grazing goats. I think it would work very well. George will be a fantastic ambassador for Bournemouth and all of its residents. I know that it's not in our constitution to ask for a recorded vote here, so I don't think I'm able to do that, but I would like it recorded that I will be supporting George Farquhar as Deputy Mayor of Bournemouth.
Thank you, Councillor Burton, and I now invite Councillor Eleanor Connolly to second the proposal.
Thank you, thank you. I'm delighted to second the nomination for Councillor Farquhar. I am lucky enough to represent the same ward and have been able to see firsthand how well he embodies the qualities we would want in a deputy mayor. You may not think it. When you picture a deputy mayor, you may not picture someone not infrequently compared to Hagrid or a Wookiee, often to be spotted around Boscombe picking up litter while walking his greyhound, although I have to say he looks very smart today. But he is unforgettable, and he leaves a lasting impression on all who meet him. He is larger than life and genuinely cares about each member of the community he represents, and they can tell that. So when I was first introduced to George as a potential running mate, he challenged me as to why I wanted to stand. He told me he would be asking me every 3 months to make sure I remain true to that simple desire to help our neighbours. And it is this steadfast commitment to representing the community and to the Nolan principles of public life that make him an excellent ambassador for our residents and an ideal deputy mayor. Thank you. Delighted to second him.
I have to get used to this. I put the motion that Councillor George Farquhar be appointed Deputy Mayor for the ensuing municipal year. Those in favour? Any against? So that is carried, and I declare the election of Councillor George Farquhar as Deputy Mayor for the ensuing municipal year. The Deputy Mayor will now leave the chamber to allow the new Deputy Mayor to robe. Do relax and talk amongst yourselves until the official party comes back. I will now invite the Deputy Mayor to read and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office.
I, George Farquhar, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Charter Trustees of Bournemouth, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
That's also official.
Thank you, and I now invite the Deputy Mayor to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. As per usual, I've not written a speech. The last time I wrote a speech was in a far slimmer, younger and less hairy life as a young subaltern. And I wrote a speech, a version of Captain Bligh's introduction to Navy life of you do not know wood from canvas and you have no inclination to learn. 30-something years later, that speech still remains in my head, so I've never written a speech since that point. What I do, however, is I speak to people at any event which I am attending, and I draw my speech from there. Firstly, what I'd like to thank is everybody that's attended as a guest today, the trustees that have put their faith in me, and everybody that's involved in the mayoral team that makes the magic happen. What I would like to address is people that, like myself, 4 years ago, when I was first elected, have come new to the chamber, have come new to civic life, and I see some new faces in the chamber today. It was somewhat unusual that I had the good fortune 4 years ago to be elected as the Vice Chairman of the BCP Council, the new local authority. And again, I hadn't prepared a speech at that point, but I did speak to people outside, to the guests there, and I had the good fortune, along with 76 other councillors, to be awarded a medal on my first day, as it were. And that medal was to remind us all that in our role is that climate and service is the key element. And I'll just read a little bit of that, because I've still got the speech which I read out in full. And it says, "Congratulations on your election to the BCP Council. You have the power to make Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole a better place for generations to come. So we've made you a medal. You can be a hero." That medal I still have today. It was made by a child out of recycled materials, and many councillors that received that medal still wear them today. The reason I bring it to the fore here is that when I was first introduced to public life, and it's a peculiar thing, and people have asked me to describe public life, it is a very unique position, in the same way that the role of vice chair or the mayor or the deputy mayor, it's a very unique opportunity to experience something which is unlike anything that's gone before. And I recall the very first communication I had from the trustees on its letterhead and its script and the magnificence of the invitation to nominate somebody for mayor. And that's when the reality hits you, is that you have entered into a life of service for 4 years on behalf of the residents of our beautiful town here in Bournemouth. So I hold that very dear to my heart. I hold it very dear to my heart that when looking at the faces of past mayors that line the walls, which you may have the opportunity to see in the course of today, the history, the heritage, the tradition, the civic pride, and that's a tradition which I pledge myself today to assist the mayor in the role of mayor, and to actually pledge myself to give my very, very best to the citizens of this town. So that's it from me, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, and I just know we're going to work really well together. I'm now going to present the past Mayor and Mayoresses badges to Bob and June Lawton. I'm not used to walking downstairs in a fur coat and high heels. You'll have to excuse me for a minute. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now will take item 6 on the agenda, the appointment of one representative and a substitute to the Association of Charter Trustees. Can I please seek nominations?
Yes, could I please nominate George Farquhar for that position and Councillor Stephen Bartlett as the substitute member?
Thank you. Will someone second that nomination? Thank you. Any nominations? So I will now put the motion that Councillor George Farquhar and Stephen Bartlett be appointed representatives and substitute respectively to the Association of Charter Trustees. Those in favour? Any against? So that is carried. And I declare that Councillors George Farquhar and Stephen Bartlett are appointed representatives and substitute, respectively, to the Association of Charter Trustees. Item 15 on the agenda. Item 15 is that we're going to take item 7 of the agenda to appoint the budget signatories. Can I seek some nominations? Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to propose Councillors John Beasley and Councillor Lawrence Williams.
Thank you, Councillor Rampton. Can I have seconders?
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. Any other nominations? So I'll now put the motion that Councillor Lawrence Williams and Councillor John Beasley be appointed budget signatories for the ensuing municipal year. Those in favour? Any against? That's carried. And I declare that Councillor Lawrence Williams and Councillor John Beasley be appointed budget signatories for the ensuing municipal year. Item 8 on the agenda, appointment of a Charter Trustee to undertake bank statement verifications. Big responsibility. Can I please seek a nomination?
Can I nominate Councillor Dwayne Farr, please?
Thank you very much. Can I have a seconder?
I will second that.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Then I'll now put the motion that Councillor Dwayne Farr be appointed to undertake bank statement verification for the ensuing municipal year. Those in favour? I think I've done that. So I declare... Have I? No. No, okay.
It was very quick.
Anyone against? Anybody else want to stand for this august position? No. So I declare that Councillor Dwayne Farr be appointed to undertake bank statement verifications for the ensuing municipal year. We're now going to take item 9 on the agenda to agree the calendar of meetings which is set out on your agenda. The Charter Trustees are asked to consider the following arrangements for meetings in accordance with the standing orders. The 27th of June at 6 o'clock, the 16th of October at 6 o'clock, 22nd of January at 6 o'clock, and in a year's time, the 24th of May 2024 at 11:15 in the morning. Is everyone in favour? Anyone against? That's carried. And I declare that the Charter Trustees have agreed the calendar of meetings in accordance with the standing orders. So, Charter Trustees, that concludes the business of this meeting, the formal business, and I thank you to all the guests and everybody who's coming to witness this special occasion. Please would you remain in your seats until the Civic Party have left the chamber. Thank you very much.
Would you please be upstanding whilst the Civic Party leaves the chamber? Thank you.